They say blood is thicker than water, but in my family, blood is just something my sister steps on to climb higher. I sat in my car in the rain outside the country club, my hands shaking on the steering wheel while clutching the custom photo album I'd spent 6 months making for Mom's 60th birthday. Inside, my older sister was making a speech, taking full credit for a party she hadn't paid a single dime toward. 10 minutes earlier, she'd pulled me into the foyer, looked at my simple dress, and hissed, "You don't fit the image we're projecting tonight. Get out before you embarrass us." She thought she'd successfully erased me from Mom's biggest night. What she didn't realize was that I held the contract to the venue, the receipts for every caterer, and a secret Mom had kept from her for 10 years. Before I tell you how karma caught up with her, comment below which city you're watching from so I can say hi. My name is Clara, I'm 32 years old, and if there's one thing I've learned about my older sister, Vanessa, it's that she views family as nothing more than an audience. When our mother announced her retirement after 35 exhausting years as a high school English teacher, I knew she deserved something extraordinary. Mom had given her entire life to her students and to us, working extra shifts just to ensure we never went without. I immediately took on the responsibility of planning a surprise retirement party that would honor her decades of dedication. For 4 months, I spent every free evening after my graphic design job budgeting down to the last penny, negotiating with local caterers, and handcrafting personalized decorations. It was tireless work, but seeing Mom happy made every second worth it. Vanessa, on the other hand, treated the entire process like a high-profile PR campaign. She was 34, deeply obsessed with social status, and newly engaged to a man from an incredibly wealthy family. While I was staying up past midnight finalizing floral arrangements, Vanessa's only contribution was dropping by for aesthetic photo shoots to post online, publicly taking credit as the lead organizer, just to impress her future in-laws. Just 4 days before the party, Vanessa suddenly insisted on moving the entire event to the Grandview Country Club. She claimed our original venue was embarrassing and unfit for her fiancé's high society parents. When I hesitated, knowing it was completely out of budget, she squeezed my arm and promised to pay for the difference. I reluctantly agreed, putting my own credit card down for the master deposit and signing the vendor contracts to secure the date. The night of the party, I arrived at the grand entrance holding Mom's finished photo album. But before I could walk in, Vanessa grabbed my arm and yanked me into the empty foyer. She sneered as her cold eyes swept over my modest, thrifted dress. She leaned in close and hissed, "You don't fit the image we're projecting tonight, Clara. Look at you. My future in-laws are here, and your average, cheap look is going to embarrass us. Get out before anyone realizes you're related to me." Before I could even speak, she signaled security to escort me out into the rain, barring me from attending the very celebration I had poured my heart and soul into creating. The cold rain drenched my hair the second the massive glass doors slammed shut behind me. Shivering, I walked blindly across the slick pavement, my hands trembling as I clutched Mom's photo album tightly against my chest to keep it dry. I climbed into my car, staring blankly through the blurred windshield as well-dressed guests walked inside, completely oblivious to the cruel drama that had just unfolded. The humiliation burned like fire in my chest. I sat there in the dark, watching the warm glow of the ballroom windows, tears stinging my eyes. But then my phone buzzed on the passenger seat, shattering the silence. It was an urgent email notification from the Grandview event manager, accompanied by a panicked text message. The system had flagged an issue, an unpaid final balance of $12,000, along with an unconfirmed catering authorization for the premium bar package. I opened the attached documents and my heart stopped. Vanessa hadn't paid a single cent of her promised half. Instead, she had surreptitiously edited the digital portal accounts, attempting to transfer full financial liability into my name while removing me entirely from the official host list. Sitting in that cold car, staring at the fraudulent paperwork on my phone screen, the tears evaporated. The burning humiliation turned into ice-cold clarity. Vanessa had been so consumed by her pathetic need to look wealthy that she had overlooked one critical, devastating detail. Every vendor contract, venue agreement, and master liability form still bore my legal signature. I wasn't just a guest she could throw out into the rain. I was the sole financial operator of the entire night. Instead of breaking down or causing an embarrassing scene in the lobby, I took a deep breath, dialed the Grandview event manager, and asked to be transferred directly to the lead catering director. When he picked up, I kept my voice completely steady. I confirmed my identity as the primary account holder and legal contract signee, then calmly instructed them to execute an immediate operational adjustment. Freeze the open bar tabs effective immediately, I commanded softly. Withhold the custom 3-tier retirement cake, and when the main toast begins, deliver the unverified master bill directly to the head table. I hung up, leaned back against the headrest, and waited for the show to begin. Through the illuminated floor-to-ceiling ballroom windows, I watched the grand spectacle unfold like a silent movie. Vanessa glided to the center stage, tapping a crystal glass with a silver spoon to gather everyone's attention. She grabbed the microphone, flashing a radiant, rehearsed smile as she began her grand speech, openly boasting about the lavish $15,000 celebration she had personally designed and funded to honor our mother. Mom sat at the head table looking touched, while Vanessa's future in-laws nodded approvingly. But just as Vanessa raised her glass for the ultimate toast, the ballroom lights flickered and the microphone died with a loud burst of static. The venue manager stepped onto the stage, flanked by 2 stern security guards. He calmly reached over, took the microphone from Vanessa's hands, and announced to the entire room that due to fraudulent billing activities and an unpaid balance, the event was suspended immediately. Panic instantly erupted across the room. Vanessa gasped, frantically pulling out her designer credit card, but it was declined twice right on the main terminal screen. In absolute desperation, she shrieked that her cheap sister was supposed to cover it, only for the manager to clarify over the speakers that Clara was the only person who had paid anything at all. Mortified by the sudden public disaster, guests began whispering while Vanessa's future in-laws looked on with absolute disgust. Disgusted by the shameful display and realizing the truth, Mom stood up from the head table, pushed past her frantic eldest daughter, and walked straight out of the country club into the pouring rain. She opened my car door and slid into the passenger seat, her eyes filled with tears as she saw the wet custom photo album resting on my lap. "I'm so sorry, Clara," she whispered softly, hugging me tightly. That was when Mom revealed a secret she had kept hidden for 10 years. She explained that she was well aware of Vanessa's ruthless greed. Months ago, when finalizing her retirement estate and trust documents, Mom had named me as the sole primary beneficiary and executor of her entire life savings and property, leaving Vanessa out completely. Moments later, Vanessa came sprinting out into the rain, her expensive makeup ruined, screaming at us to pay the bill. But Mom rolled down the window, looked her straight in the eye, and told her she was completely on her own. Vanessa stood frozen in the downpour as Mom rolled the window up and told me to drive away. Through my rearview mirror, I watched her world crumble in real time. Her fiancé walked out of the venue moments later, handed his ring back to her, and drove off with his family, horrified by the deceit and public spectacle. In the weeks that followed, the fallout was absolute. With no financial backup, Vanessa was forced to take on massive personal debt to settle the venue's cancellation fees and legal penalties. Her reputation among her high society social circle was completely destroyed, and she quickly learned that fake status cannot buy real loyalty. Mom and I drove to a quiet, cozy diner down the street, ordering hot coffee and slices of pie. Sitting in that warm booth, I finally gave her the custom photo album. As she flipped through 35 years of memories, tears of genuine joy filled her eyes. We laughed, reminisced, and spent the night celebrating her incredible career the way it should have been celebrated, with love, truth, and respect. Looking back, standing up to my sister wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming my worth. If you've ever had a family member try to erase your hard work, remember that karma always keeps the receipts. How would you have handled a sister like Vanessa? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more real stories.